A tired boy sits on his bed, trying to think of a topic to write about in a dumb machinima video. He thinks of bagels. Here we are. Bagels. So let's start by talking about something other than bagels, because that's how good writing structure is done. So I'm gonna talk about the much better version of bagels, donuts, and all the reasons why donuts are infinitely better than bagels and should replace them at all possible instances. Donuts are better in every way. They have a better texture, they have a better taste, and they're more widely available. Sure, every bakery has a bagel, but there are almost no restaurants that are just for bagels. Instead, there are 1,000 donut shops from here to Sunday. Never mind, there are absolutely bagel shops. I'm an idiot and I just looked this up. But they serve donuts there, and I don't think donut shops serve bagels. Wait, yes they do, never mind. Ignore this argument. If donut shops give bagels, and bagel shops give donuts, then I need to ask what the difference between them is. Bing says that donuts are fried and sweet, and bagels are boiled and salty. If two completely different methods have such small differences, why bother with the both of them? Just replace them with donuts. Easy peasy. Why are bagels popular if they're just bread in a circle? We have bread in a normal square shape, rectangular prisms as well, but circle? Why not obsess over bread pyramids or bread oblong spheroids? Since when did we become so circle obsessed that we're just cavemen discovering the wheel, but this time with bread? If discovery is such a drug for us, why do we not interlace the styles of bagels and donuts together? We have such unique technique for flavoring each of them, but I think we should have jelly-filled bagels. Everything donuts. Hell, have a donut with a melted cream cheese and pork on it, or make a pizza donut. That sound you're hearing is the sound of a new billion-dollar idea drumming up the market. That sound you're hearing is the sound of a new billion-dollar idea drumming up the market. And while we're at it, we should really be more decisive about our spelling of the word donut. Is it donut or donut? And why is the dough part the Schrodinger's cat of its name, when it is definitely dough, but definitely not a nut? Because nuts don't have holes in them, but maybe the nuts are meant to go inside the donut? Or maybe the nuts are meant to go inside the donut, because that's what donut holes are for, right? A little dollop of bakery goodness to make up for the massive missing chunk in the center. A dollop of goodness that, if I may, are grounds for libel class action lawsuits. These products are constantly diagnosed as holes, donut holes, but they are quite literally not a hole. You may ask what the big deal is, but I would argue that there are a great many things that a person can do with a hole that you can't do with anything else. It's also worthy to note that a donut hole doesn't fit in an actual donut's hole, and to that end, we don't eat the two together. It's like if EA made donuts, they cut out a large core part and then sold it later to us as DLC, donut-labeled confection. And we don't eat the donuts with donut holes, rather either or. It's dumb for them to even have holes. I'm talking about the holes in the donut, not the little dough balls. These names are really confusing. You know what? I'm talking about the hole that you can do things with. Why do we have that? Presumably so you can grip the donut, but I don't really care about my grip when I'm shoving an entire donut into my face. So why not stop making all donuts just flat, non-holed confections? You know why? Because the donut hole cartel, or Big Donut Hole, would stop their racket of overpriced donut microtransactions. What happens when they get even greedier? I'll tell you, you can expect to get holes in your donut holes. They will be rings of their own, and then we'll be able to buy donut hole holes, and then they'll have a hole to account for their holes, and then they'll get donut hole holes. I don't know about you, but this seems to me like the future that liberals want. Our freedom removed by a tiny cloth that can be easily removed and only needed to be worn in public. Ruining our children by making sure they can get a good education and not worry about having to go to the hospital. And having not to buy donut holes. That's right, there's a fifth layer to this. This is just another reason why donuts are better than bagels. You don't see anyone serving bagel holes. Imagine tiny bagel holes with your normal toppings on it, like a single shred of melted cheese or a scrap of pork. God, what would an everything bagel hole look like? Honestly, they probably do exist in New York, and I'm just not East Coast enough to know about it. Let's be real, how much bagel experimentation goes on in New York? You look anywhere outside, and you'll probably find some normal-seeming bagels, maybe a few odd choices here and there. But go to the city that never sleeps. Sounds like you're entering a place where they loaded up a bunch of bakers with 10 tons of PCP each and told them to go wild. But I don't know if there are any other bagel capitals. Maybe Detroit has some good bagels, or some completely random city like Boise, Idaho. I can imagine those, what's a derogatory term for someone from Idaho? I can imagine those heterosexuals would like a weird bagel or two. But the only confirmed bagel hotspot right now is NYC, and there's sure a hell of a lot of them there, so why so many? I understand that there's a lot of people, but you would suspect their diet to exist exclusively of pizza pies and bagels, with the restaurant options available. I know Elon Musk has been looking for an alternative fuel source, but I think he's gonna come up short with a bagel-powered rocket ship. They should be spending their time coming up with hell-dimensionally warped reality of healthier foods. Like apples. It's literally called the Big Apple. You mean to tell me a city named after a food it isn't even commonly used in that city? It's like calling Alabama Tolerance Land, or Los Angeles, you can totally succeed here-ville. I know you're not supposed to feed pigeons bread, or is that ducks? Yeah, you're not supposed to feed pigeons ducks. But it seems like the only reasonable way that you would handle the overflowing amount of bread. Or perhaps a bagel fancy restaurant is in order. If there's one thing I know about New Yorkers, it's that they love billionaires serving as elected officials who manipulate the system and commit fraud for their own gain. And then some goofy restaurants. With all this talk of bagel distribution, I realize I've barely gotten into the specifics of how they're made, and the truth is, I don't know. I could look it up and find the answer is with a machine that stacks bread around a pipe and then cuts it horizontally into individual pieces stacked atop one another, but I think it's more fun to romanticize how it goes down. Let's imagine, for a moment, a world where Sonic the Hedgehog decided to take all those golden rings he's collected and stuff bread outside all of them. Isn't that funny? Isn't that, I wasn't able to come up with a satisfying end joke for this one. How about making sure an entire road is made out of bread and then applying glue to your tires? Then, when you drive, you'll be making 4 donuts at once. And they call that affection. Try topping that, airplanes that can make croissants. Hula hoops would make a fine addition to our list of possibilities. I can see a pitch-perfect image of a baker trying to make a long baguette and wrapping it around themselves and just gyrating. Imagine that. Try not to imagine that. Every time you eat a bagel now, imagine a baker gyrating in order to make that. Or we could place the bread inside of the gears of some massive machine like conveyor belts, and just have the bread be tossed and spun around like that fur stuff from the thorax. I think it was called weed, just straight up weed. Or something we could use is Earth's naturally flat shape. If we have an infinitely long string of bread and just walk around the planet's ice wall, then we can keep going around and around, and then eventually we'd have the world's biggest bagel. And when you have that perfect bagel, why waste it on food? I recommend using this flat earth bagel to propose to the person of your choice, because there's no better way to secure your future with someone than to do it with a bread ring made out of the flat earth's ice wall. And once we have determined the best creation of a bagel, we need to discuss the way bagels take advantage of creation itself. And by that, I mean the everything bagel. First of all, it's not everything. An everything bagel means it's full of everything. And you don't mean to tell me that this bagel has every single taste in the universe? I find that statement doubt-worthy. Does it have the taste of oil? I doubt it. When I bite into an everything bagel, I better taste the bitter, flammable taste of oil there, and I mean beyond the normal New York aroma of oil. I want it to be applied to the bagel itself. The taste of photographs? Better be in there. Just shove old scraps of childhood memories and photos. What's that? You don't want to destroy a one-of-a-kind photo from the 1820s? One of the oldest photos ever? I don't care. It's an everything bagel. Toss up some fried salamander in there too. No need to hold back. This is everything. Just take your 6-year-old's pet salamander, burn it alive, and feed it to the raving rabbids level stack of stuff. Then break into NASA and get some of their nebula sprinkles they got lying around. Everything means everything, even tastes that aren't from Earth, so I just want to eat the nebula sprinkle. Come on. And while you're at it, throw in some 5-day-old copper. Just 5 days old specifically. Just tiny bits with green rust on it. Like I'm biting into a penny or licking the Statue of Liberty. Please don't let that last sentence be what I'm remembered for. No matter how many flavors you put on, an everything bagel will never top the best bagel. Chocolate chip is just the greatest bagel, for 6 very simple reasons. 1, it's the best. 2, chocolate. 3, the best. 4, chocolate. 5, the best. 6, chocolate. With that evidence, I think this matter is entirely settled. I will be taking no criticism, no debate, and to that end, I bid you all farewell.